I've been researching diet and health for years now, and with that knowledge I want to help you find a better, healthier and more fit lifestyle. However, there has been a big shift in the scientific literature regarding diet, and it has caused quite a big of an uproar. By the end of the video you'll be a lot more wiser on today's diets and the science surrounding those diets, so you'll be able to make better decisions regarding your own health and your own lifestyle. First, let's start with what's really important. Macronutrients. Macronutrients are energy providing chemical substances eaten by humans and animals in large quantities. The three macronutrients in our diets are carbohydrates, protein and lipids or fats. Stay around till the end of the video where I tell you how much of each macronutrient you need to be fit and healthy. Each macronutrient comes with a different caloric profile, or how many calories are in each gram of that macronutrient. Carbohydrates, there are 4 calories per gram, in protein there are 4 calories per gram, and in fats there are 9 calories per gram. Calories are measures of energy that are used up as heat in the human body. By choosing how many calories we take in each day, we regulate our caloric balance, which is like a scale. The more we take in, the more calories we store as fat tissue and thus gain weight. If we take in less calories than we use up, we lose weight. This is the current scientific consensus around the topic and has been shown in literature to be true repeatedly. Like in this 2017 article by Howell et al., where they found as long as protein was equal, the composition of the diet did not matter for weight loss or weight gain. Essentially, a calorie is a calorie. So, our body uses macronutrients as fuel for energy. Each macronutrient has different properties and acts differently in the body. So let's go over what each of them does. First up, carbohydrate. There are 5 main functions of carbohydrates in the human body. These are energy production, energy storage, building macromolecules, sparing protein and assisting in lipid metabolism. Since many cells prefer glucose as a source of energy versus other compounds like fatty acids, this is their preferred form of fuel. The energy from glucose comes from the chemical bonds between carbon atoms. Cells in our bodies break these bonds and capture the energy to perform cellular respiration. The brain, kidneys, muscles and heart all need carbohydrates to function properly, but they can also produce this on their own in case that carbohydrates are absent. Carbohydrates come in all sorts of food, and I probably don't need to tell you that they come in very healthy ones like fruits and vegetables, and of course less nutritious foods. You know, probably the ones you feel guilty after eating after you've eaten them. Carbohydrates can be either simple or complex, which depends on their chemical structure. Simple carbs taste very sweet, like fruit sugar, while complex carbohydrates taste savory, like starch in potatoes. Fiber is an indigestible form of carbohydrate. Since humans cannot break down fiber, they pass through the digestive system whole and take other waste products with them. They are very important to get enough of in your diet, you know, for your stool and stuff. Oh, and one more thing, if you enjoy this content, it would be awesome if you could leave a like and a comment down below. Any interaction you have with this channel helps out way more than you know, and it would mean a lot to me personally as well. There are 4 types of dietary fat in our food: saturated fat, trans fats, monounsaturated fats, and polyunsaturated fats. And yes, trans fats should probably be avoided in your diet, as they provide nothing but bad consequences for your health. But the data on saturated fats isn't as clear. They could provide some actual health benefits, mostly towards men, as they could provide extra testosterone. But it is important to mostly opt for monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats. So, what do they actually do? Well, dietary fats have 3 main functions in the body. It provides energy, it regulates temperature, and it absorbs vitamins. Some types of vitamins rely on fat for absorption and storage. Vitamins A, D, E, and K, called fat-soluble vitamins, cannot function without adequate daily fat intake. And for temperature, fat cells in the adipose tissue help you regulate and insulate your body. And thus, it can sustain a normal core body temperature. And then, let's talk about the last macronutrient: protein. Either you can't live without it or you bitch about it. And honestly, I'm in camp 1. I want to dive deeper into protein in a later video, but for now, here are its most important functions. More than 100 different structural proteins have been discovered in the human body. They all have different functions in order to help the body function. As for the proteins in our body, they are responsible for hormone synthesis. Hormones are chemical messages produced by the endocrine glands. These hormones drive all sorts of important processes in the body. Okay, hold up 1 second there. These are the dietary benefits of eating protein. Protein helps with the transport of hemoglobin throughout the body. Protein aids our body's protection against viruses. Proteins are involved in all aspects of wound healing. That's quite enough. But yeah, protein is incredibly important throughout the entire body. And we didn't even talk about creating or maintaining muscle mass yet. So if you're interested in that video, please leave it in the form of a comment down below and I will get to it as soon as possible. Now, how many do you need according to the normal scientific data? Luckily, it's not a big shift. It just depends on how many calories you're actually eating and what your goals are. If you want to gain weight, so that you want to gain muscle, there's a different strategy than if you want to lose fat, so lose weight. Firstly, we'll quickly look into how many daily calories you need and how you can determine that. And after that, we'll discuss the different macronutrients you need each day. So, according to the scientific literature, calories are the main determinant if you will gain or lose weight. So it's really important how many daily calories you take in. There are two main ways how you can determine how many daily calories you need. You can either use a calculator, like the Tdee Calculator. I'll leave a link to this one in the description below. There you can just put in your weight, height, etc. and you get how many calories you need each day. Or if you want to be more accurate, you can actually measure how many calories you take in daily for about the span of a week. And after that you can look if you gained or lost weight. Do this for 1 or 2 weeks and you can actually determine how many calories you need to take in. If you've gained weight in that period, you know you need to take in less calories. If you've lost weight, you know you need to take in more. And that way you can balance it out until you get the amount of calories required in each day for yourself. And of course, if your weight is stable, you know that you are taking in the amount of calories you need each day. Over the past couple of years, there's actually been quite a lot of scientific discussion surrounding this. Scientists are not sure what the optimal division of macronutrients are, but through study after study, they have made some conclusions that are quite definite by now. The two most important macronutrients to actually analyze are fat and protein, because we need a certain amount of them each day in order to function properly. Carbohydrates are also important, but in a less of an extent towards the other two. So that's where we'll start. Let's start with protein. Here are all the articles and meta-reviews that verify this, and if you want to read further into those, I will leave them in the description down below. Your personal needs will depend mostly on how much muscle mass you have and how many times per week you work out. The general recommendation for protein is 0.7 to 1.2 grams per pound of body weight. As we discussed earlier, protein is very important, so make sure you get your protein. And for fats as well, there's lots of scientific data surrounding this macronutrient, and I will leave links to those in the description below. But for optimal health, benefits and everything surrounding fat, it's advised to take in 25% to 30% of your daily calories from fat. I could beat around the bush with this, but I don't think it's necessary unless I go into a deep dive surrounding every macronutrient, which I will probably do in the future. But for now, this is what it is, and let's go on. So that are protein and fats. And in order to fill the rest up, you can use carbs, and your distribution will look something like this. Of course, you can play around with these a little bit to fit your own needs and how you feel and what works best for you. That is no problem. And this is the most commonly accepted scientific consensus surrounding diet. So let's get to the other side of the spectrum. So, if everything looked so tight and neat on the previous theory, why would we change that? Well, to discuss this, we need to talk about the ketogenic diet. The ketogenic diet is an extremely low carb, medium protein and high fat diet. While the term ketogenic wasn't used until the 20th century, there is historical precedent for fasting for health. Ancient Greek physicians advocated for restricting one's diet to treat diseases like epilepsy and other health problems. Fasting was considered to be integral for a healthy lifestyle. This practice would be carried through to the 20th century, where scientists would use this strategy on their patients for the same reasons. But there was an obvious problem. Patients had to eat, otherwise they would just, die. So, to make something akin to fasting, scientists discovered that reducing the amount of sugars and starches in your diet could create the same effect. This is called the ketogenic diet. So, how does this work? Well, let's jump back into the macros for a second. When your body burns food for energy, it prefers to burn carbs first and fat last. Carbs burn like a piece of paper, fast, quick energy. While fat burns like a wooden log, difficult to start but lots of long-lasting energy. If you cut out carbs as much as possible, your body is forced to burn fat for energy. With your body in fat burning mode, ketosis, it would be easier to lose weight. So where your body used to burn carbohydrates as fuel, instead it adapts itself to use fat instead. So generally, the advocates of a keto diet see a couple of problems with regular diets. 1. The continuous indulgence in carbohydrates make your blood sugar spike rapidly again and again, which makes your energy go up and down very quickly. This is especially the case since the 1970s, where everyone pushed for low-fat products. They did this by replacing the fat in products by sugars. So, a lot of people on the keto diet will argue that their energy levels are a lot more stable because they don't experience that shift in blood sugar. And this, combined with the fact that overeating on carbohydrates, and especially high glycemic carbohydrates, can lead to insulin resistance and eventually type 2 diabetes. Alright, this does sound pretty bad, but what would be the advantages of pursuing a keto diet instead of a regular carbohydrate-rich diet? Well, during a keto diet, your body starts to produce ketones. Ketone bodies are a variety of molecules that your tissue produce as a sort of last resort option if your liver and muscle run out of glycogen, which of course are stored carbohydrates. Basically, your liver and muscle are constantly offering blood glucose in the normal fat state. But if you go on a keto diet, there is no stored carbohydrate or glycogen. Your brain, of course, cannot be devoid of nutrients, so tissues respond by breaking down non-carbohydrate sources for fuel, ketone bodies, for the blood and brain. So essentially, your body shifts its main fuel source. There have also been multiple studies done that argue that a keto diet can help with multiple diseases. People on a keto diet also report that they think more clearly, and of course, weight loss. Let's actually see what the science has to say about weight loss regarding a keto diet versus a regular diet. People on keto diets will give multiple reasons why they think it helps with fat loss. Let's go over them. Well, first up, it has actually been proven that a diet mostly based on fats is way more filling than a diet based most on carbohydrates. This allows you to get less calories in throughout the day than you would on a regular diet. So that kind of makes more sense, but let's actually get a bit more scientific. People will argue that the keto diet has a lot of beneficial effects for the hormones throughout your body. When you run on carbs, you spike insulin levels to store the carbs, and some carbs are stored as fat. To access that fat for energy, insulin levels have to come down. But because we have to eat so much more often because of the carbohydrates, insulin levels never really truly come down. Keto would break that cycle. Your blood sugar stays flat and your insulin stays low. It never goes up and it never crashes. Dietary fat is no different to the body than stored fat. So with insulin levels low, accessing stored body fat becomes easy. So you effectively have an infinite supply of energy. That's the theory anyway. Additionally, there are lots of reasons why anyone would choose to do a keto diet, but these are the most significant. Now let's end by seeing who is actually right. Spoiler, currently it's impossible to say. Let's see what I mean. These were the biggest scientific papers I could find on the topic, and as you can see, there are many advocates for both camps, so there isn't any clear conclusion. Some evidence shows that the keto diet is actually much healthier and better than normal diets, and other evidence shows the opposite. So what do we need to believe? I'll come back to this at the end of the video, but for now I think there is one thing at least we can say. That it isn't necessary to do a keto diet in order to be the healthiest or the best you can be. While many health markers do improve on the keto diet, weight loss in general and getting to a normal healthy weight does that as well. Even though they get slightly different results or slightly different outcomes on what's best, what stands out most is choosing a diet that is actually healthy and works the best for you so that you can adhere to it. The keto diet isn't magic, but it is definitely a valid strategy. I think you can kind of see the struggle now, arguing between these diets, because there's so much conflicting data, and it really is impossible to say right now. But here are my 2 cents on it. I think the keto diet can be really effective, and especially in the short term. I also think it can provide real health benefits, but mostly towards people with diseases or type 2 diabetes. But I think it may be extremely hard to follow. But healthy? Yeah, probably. It's just the thing, it's so hard to actually come across good keto options, and it may be difficult for you to adhere to it when you're excluding an entire food group. So decide for yourself what's best for you. I want to end on 2 things. Then reassessing your protein intake will be essential. All these studies down below prove the benefits of a higher protein intake for satiety, muscle growth, fat loss, and health. Then, secondly, about the current diets. I want to end by giving you this Harvard professor's opinion about the entire situation. I think it encompasses everything you need to know and will help you with your choices in the future. So, enjoy. We have solid evidence showing that a ketogenic diet reduces seizures in children, sometimes as effectively as medication. Weight loss is the primary reason my patients use the ketogenic diet. Previous research shows good evidence of a faster weight loss when patients go on a ketogenic or very low carbohydrate diet, compared to patients on a more traditional low-fat diet, or even a Mediterranean diet. However, that difference in weight loss seems to disappear over time. A ketogenic diet has also been shown to improve blood sugar control for patients with type 2 diabetes, at least in the short term. There is even more controversy when we consider the effect on cholesterol levels. A few studies show some patients have increase in cholesterol levels in the beginning, only to see cholesterol fall a few months later. However, there is no long-term research analyzing its effect over time on diabetes and high cholesterol. A ketogenic diet could be an interesting alternative to treat certain conditions and may accelerate fat loss, but it is hard to follow, and it can be very heavy on the red meat and other fatty, processed and salty foods that are notoriously unhealthy. We also do not know much about its long-term effects, probably because it's so hard to stick with that people can't eat this way for a long time. Essentially, try to embrace change that is sustainable over the long term. A balanced, unprocessed diet, rich in colorful fruits and vegetables, lean meats, fish, whole grains, nuts, seeds, olive oil and lots of water seems to have the best evidence for a long, healthier and vibrant life. If you have made it to the end of the video, first of all, thank you very much. If you want to help me out even more, you can drop a like, comment down below about anything you want, or even drop a sub. It helps out way more than you know. Any interaction is just incredible on this channel. I really enjoy making these videos and I really hope you enjoy watching them as well. But until next time, I'll see you later. Bye guys.